Yeah, thanks, Chair. That's what Deputy Timmins was saying there. I don't think we should shy away from that collaboration question. I know we don't have privilege.
More in terms of our privilege and all those things.
And I understand that. But there aren't many explanations that make all this tally. But look, if we can't go into it, we can't go into it. It's a small market, and you know, I guess people know each other. But again, nothing's been proven. So
okay, you can explore the idea of it. Just can't mention any names. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay. Look, I'll move on to my questions then. But
you can explore the idea. Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So, two things, I guess, just in relation to the alliance itself, and maybe where the alliance is a major body with close to 1 million members by the looks of things, by the statistics you gave us at the outset. It would seem to me that there's scope for the alliance to actually do certain things here as well. One would be something along the lines of communication around the IRB and the need to try and avoid courts where possible, and certainly stressing that the outcome from the courts is generally no greater and ultimately more costly. Because obviously many of the members of your organisation are the same people who are taking court cases. So I think the scope there. The second would be in relation to, I suppose, just the sheer volume, the power that you might have in numbers. Have you ever considered anything along the lines of one big switch or something to that effect? You know, where your members get together and threaten the insurance companies to walk across the street to another one if proper premiums, more appropriate premiums, aren't actually provided, and then maybe even an extension of that. And this is probably taking it too far, but you know, in certain industries there might be scope for the industry itself to set up a kind of a reinsuring body. And I'm thinking of Senator Nelson Murray talking about Pally and the fact that, you know, they got together and they pay $1 million a year in premiums. You know, I think there's more scope to do things like that. It's not the answer, you know, but it could be part of the answer coming from the actual consumer side. And then just two other questions. One is just about the 20% that can only get one quote. That's actually quite concerning. And I'm wondering if you have any insights. I know that was just as a result of your survey. If you have any insights to any formal kind of statistics that have been drawn up in that space, or if you have any insights into what direction that is going in. Previous to being 20%, was that 10% or was that 40%? Is that improving or disimproving? And very finally, I just noted something where you were talking about in relation to personal injury guidelines, and you saw a role for this committee in signing off on the recommendations. Would be interesting now that you're here just to get you to expand on that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, well, I'll just take the last part. I'd like there to be a collaboration of both finance and justice, because we saw just how close we went on the last occasion, on this most recent occasion, where it seemed very clear that the Minister was of a mind to accept. And not only was he of a mind to accept, but there were at least 5 instances where judges awarded additional 17 and 18% extra in awards in anticipation of something coming through. I think that it's very clear that the original judgment, it was by the courts, said that the Oireachtas should be in charge of determining accepting the judicial guidelines, the Judicial Council guidelines. And the Oireachtas, as you know, I'm not educating you, it is more than the government, it is the houses. And I think that the committees of the House, or some of the committees of the House, should actually debate the recommendations the next time that's coming around, rather than it being done in one Department of Justice or with the assistance of the Department of Finance. I think that democracy is best upheld by being transparent and open, as in these committee rooms, and that's what I was talking about. I'd leave you talk on the other matters, but certainly I believe that the committees, both this committee and Justice, should actually decide those, or at least make recommendations. They can't decide, but make recommendations based upon having a full hearing on the matter and all the stakeholders present.
And just, Deputy, if I might take up your point about having one underwriter, that has, to be fair, that has come down. There were more sectors 5 years ago that had only one underwriter, or indeed couldn't get any access to cover at all. And the officials of the Department of Finance and the insurance section certainly were working with some of those sectors, and there has been progress. However, it's still a significant number, 20%. A lot of them in the tourism and arts and so on, maybe tour operators, historic houses, all sorts of areas you might think of that. And it's a perilous place to be because it's an existential issue. I mean, and I certainly know, I think in one tourism representative body telling me a time when they were just told that, in 3 months' time, yeah, we're pulling out of the sector and there is nobody else. And so, thankfully, that insurer stayed on or a new one was found. But there's a lot of livelihoods wrapped up in something when it's that perilous, and they're the stakes in terms of competition. It's not just about premiums. It's ultimately about livelihoods as well, and local communities that those jobs support as well. So I think absolutely we need to, while good work, to be fair, has been done in reducing the number of sectors that can't get cover, the issue, I suppose, for many now is access to affordable cover. And that's really where the challenge lies. But there are thatched cottages are in an invidious position. Some of the arts really have huge difficulties. Tour operators, some of those in the tourism space, have either one underwriter or none at all, and that's
Can I just probe just I'll be very quick in relation to that. You're effectively, when you've one underwriter, they're a monopoly, essentially. Now, is there any evidence that additional supernormal profits being made in that area where there's only one underwriter, above and beyond the industry in general?
There's no data that I'm aware of that I have seen that there's been any comparative analysis done. Not that it mightn't be worthwhile.
It may be buried within, assuming that it's a company that provides a number of different styles of cover, it's buried within their overall annual. So you wouldn't see the thatched element as being part of it.
Okay, thank